Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang. I'm a mystic, metaphysical psychologist, and an Amazon bestselling author of 13 books. And in 2008, I had a health crisis that turned into a spiritual awakening and totally forevermore changed the course of my life. At that time, I devoted my life to the divine, and I've been going ever since. I've served thousands of women and children and families in supporting them and healing their body minds of every form of dis-ease you can think of, as well as we learned this was one of my superpowers along the way, supporting them and stepping into a life of exquisite love and radiant, radical prosperity. Welcome to the podcast. We are going to talk about the thing that is on everybody's minds. And we're talking about watching this first month of the calendar new year take place. Have now activated not only the calendar new year, but the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. We are beginning to go into the energetics of the energetic new year, which is in March. So we've got enough energy going here that we can really look at the imprint of the frequency that is known as 2025 and get more clarity about how we can best show up for this year that is known as 2025. And you're going to love this. I'm loving it. When I tuned in and asked my connection to source and my higher self and my spiritual team, what is the message for 2025? What do people subscribe to the podcast and my email community? What do they need to know and do for the year of 2025 so that they can live their absolute best year yet, no matter what's going on with the agenda and what's going on in the matrix? And I was guided to our book, Love Letters from Mary Magdalene, and the passage that is our focus for 2025 could not be more perfect and really takes all of everyone has their opinions about what they think is going to happen in 2025 and, all of the stories out there. By the way, do not listen to anyone or anything unless they are truly plugged into source. They are truly living a life of integrity and purpose and authenticity, and you can feel that frequency from them. There's just so much noise in the space, and all the podcasts that you can listen to and all the things that you can take in, and the majority of it is noise. It is nonsense. So unless someone is truly channeling from the divine frequency, disregard. Don't even bother, because unless it's coming from source, from the highest light, it is literally not helpful to you and your journey. So this is something I remind myself of. If ever, people are like, oh, I heard this or I heard that, I'm like, who did you hear it from? What is their frequency? What kind of life are they living? How are they showing up in the world? Because unless it really aligns with the highest truth and the highest frequency, I'm not interested, because it's not going to be beneficial to me and my timeline and living the best life that I can live. So I want to pass that on to you. Let's go into the message from Mary Magdalene that sets the tone for our 2025 and gives us a heads up on what is truly going on in this year and how we can navigate it in the best way. This is phenomenal. I'm so excited to share it with you. When I opened to it, I was like, no, are you serious? So this is what we want to know about 2025. And then there's some actions here for us to support us so that we can have the best 2025, again, no matter what is going on, because we were told in 2019, I believe it was, that 2025 was going to be the next radical shift, paradigm shift, the next shifting for the collective consciousness. So we knew this was going to be a big year. The energy is moving really powerfully. It has felt like spring energy, even in the dead of winter for those of us in the northern part of the world. There's a lot of expansion energy, and wow. Okay, let's get into it. So I want to invite you, if you're somewhere where you can do this, to sit or lie down meditatively, close your eyes, just let yourself be in receiving mode and see what, moves in your body as you're hearing this message from Mary Magdalene. Notice, any insights, intuition that comes up for you as you're receiving this message from her as well. It just helps you tune in and focus. Of course, if you're driving or something else, don't do this. But if you can, really let this transmission wash over you and really notice what aspects of yourself sort of pop up and catch your attention as we share this with you. So I asked, what is it? My connection with Source, higher self, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, all of the highest light, Archangel Michael, Mother Mary, all of the highest light, Gautama Buddha. What is it that my swirl, my community needs to know for 2025? And what do they need to know and do so that they can have the best 2025 no matter what's going on? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you ready? All right, here we go. I know I'm giving you a lot of buildup here, but it's really phenomenal. Okay. This is where we're starting. I mean, it's just the hijacked agenda on Earth does not desire for humans to fully ascend into who they really are. Instead, it works overtime to promote sex as a casual, liberated affair, as opposed to the sacred act that it is. The agenda does this in all areas and sectors of Earth life. It glorifies pathways of living that are in direct misalignment with Source and, therefore, a fulfilling incarnation. Because of this, humans get sidetracked, busily navigating scenic routes in sex, in work, in finances, and in their overall lifestyle. These scenic routes take them off the course of their mission as God Goddess in form while on Earth. Now, as I've mentioned previously, and this is Mary Magdalene speaking, you did know it would be like this upon incarnating, and you were aware that there would be an agenda in full force attempting to distract you from your true path. So don't get hung up on how dare they, because it was always going to be like this. It is my intention, again, speaking as Mary Magdalene, it is Yeshua's intention, it is Mother Mary's intention that you transcend the bright and shiny distractions of your time. I'm going to say this again. This is so beautiful. It is my intention, it is Yeshua's intention, it is Mary Magdalene's intention that you transcend the bright and shiny distractions of your time. Stay as natural and organic as you can possibly be. Use technology for your divine purpose. Do not let the technology use you, because it will if you do not stay divinely rooted. Infiltrate artificial matrix systems as you're guided to do so, but do not lose your way. It's our intention that you step into full, authentic unification with your God self and form, which will allow you to navigate the artificial matrix with much greater ease and flow. It's what we did while living upon Earth, and it's what you're being invited into as well. Being fully human and fully divine. And incidentally, dearest one, being fully human is fully divine. You're living in an advanced technology body-mind that's equipped with all that's needed to experience unification with your God Goddess self while in form. Now, this is important for me to include here, lest any egoic rumblings begin. Being united with your higher self or your God Goddess self in form does not make you better or superior to anyone else. Yeshua lived this teaching powerfully while on earth. He was fully united with his God self and walked upon the earth for decades in this way. And yet he did not ever suppose himself to be greater than God herself or greater than any one of his brothers or sisters. And so this is a slight tangent that I've embarked on here, but it felt utterly important to do so. That is our message for 2025. What do we need to know and do so that we can live our optimal experience in 2025? I'm going to review this a little bit for us. So first, it's to know that the hijacked agenda, so the mainstream agenda that is running the earth plane, does not want you to ascend into your higher self. So it is doing whatever it can to keep you from that ascension. So anything that's happening in the mainstream, that is all to distract you from being who you really are, uniting with your higher self while on earth, fulfilling your mission. And then, as those of you know that work with me closely, return to your original home, to your home star. So the agenda does not want this to happen. So it's going to do everything it can this year to keep you from your ascension, to keep you from your unification. So again, now we know why I was guided to share with you at the start of this episode that unless someone is connected to source and you know and you can feel that they are in integrity with their higher self and they are bringing through messages from source herself, from the highest frequencies, do not listen to them. Do not pay attention to them. Don't listen to their podcast. Don't read their book. Don't look at their posts on social media. Do not engage it because it will only distract you and keep you from your divine mission. And part of your divine mission in this incarnation is to become united with your higher self. You may notice if you've checked out my website, spirituality, sacred-spirituality.org recently, we've upgraded everything. Our whole focus, my whole focus is assisting you and uniting with your higher self or your God Goddess self. That's it. That is the mission. That is how we create the next golden age. That's how we do everything we wanted to do here. That's how we live the most fulfilling life. So the first piece is really be aware that the agenda is glorifying anything and everything that is not in alignment with source, with your highest path, and that is by design. You can get sidetracked and go on scenic routes that take you off course of your mission. So it is very important for you to be living as truly and fully as who you really are. This means being as organic and natural as possible in your food, in your water, in your what you're putting on your body, what you're taking into your mind. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are the daily actions you're taking? What is the work that you're doing? Keep it as natural and organic as possible. The agenda is going to do everything it can to distract you from this. Is this sounding familiar? We have been sharing this with you since 2020, that this was of utmost importance to your ascension, to your unification with your higher self. This is so, so powerful. And another piece that really stood out to me here is that you are here to be fully human and fully divine. That is so important for your incarnation to really integrate those two aspects of self while on earth. That is how you become your higher self in form. And that is your focus for 2025. And how perfect, like literally could not have. I mean, I just was on a call with one of my mentorship, spiritual mentorship loves, and we were just like, you cannot make this shit up. Like this is the mission that I've been given. I'm guided to this book. I open to the page. It's just incredible. And this next piece is so important that Mary talks about and also references Yeshua and his journey. This does not mean that we are superior to anyone or anything because we are living in this way. This is literally just what we came to do. This is like base level. Being a human, your focus is unifying with your higher self. This does not make you superior to anyone else. I had this come up recently in a conversation over the last few months in a conversation with a family member, and just like, oh, like this perfected, path that you're on. And I was totally like, wait, what are you talking about? I am literally just being shown from my higher self the next actions and step to take. I'm coming up on 10 years sober in April. I was not trying to be sober. Let me trust me on this. I was not trying to be sober. I was not trying to eat fully organic. I thought I was good the way I was doing things. I was not trying to meditate every day. In fact, the opposite. In 2006, I had tried to meditate and I was like, this doesn't work because it was kind of trending in my circle. You know, I was like, this doesn't work. I had a spiritual awakening, almost died. I was like, okay, I'll get on the, I will meditate every day. I stopped drinking because literally my higher self was like, and you will not put that in your mouth again. I shifted to organic because I had my light body activated by the Purium organic superfoods, and that changed everything for me. Literally, this is not about being better than anyone, being any sort of competition, being like, oh, this is how you live as your higher self. I didn't even know that was the trajectory I was on. It was literally just being guided every step of the way. And you will as well. I have people that come to me over the years and say, well, I don't want to be sober. So like you're sober and you're saying that, being your higher self is being sober and I don't want to be sober. Do not force yourself to do anything. It has to come from that deep, authentic expression of who you really are. Now, how do you get connected to that deep, authentic expression of who you really are? You meditate, you have higher self unification sessions with me and the team, you have a spiritual mentor, you do this deeper work, and then you will be guided to the next amazing step that is best for you. So this is not a superiority game. This is not like, who's winning the race at life. This is literally what your higher self is calling you to do. Your true self is calling you to do. And from my experience, it is all the things I have listed. Your higher self will have your own way, your own flavor of doing things, and will guide you accordingly. This is not about being better than anyone else. This is about getting out the game. Okay. This is about having our most fulfilling incarnation that we can possibly have, while also completing the karmic disharmony, dis-ease, abuse, like all the different wounded patterns. We're completing those patterns. We're living our most fulfilling incarnation while we're doing it. And we are completing living in dualistic planes of consciousness where humans are harmed and where beings of all kinds are harmed. That's what we're doing. So this is, Yeshua is like the perfect example of this. And by perfect, I mean like so beautifully grounded, so humble, so present, so really living and actualizing it. His life gets the most play. Mary Magdalene was doing it as well, but sadly, the agenda was not supporting letting us all know that goddesses of the light exist on earth. So this example of walking this path and walking it in community, walking it with love and grace, walking it with never giving up on your mission, no matter how challenging and difficult it might be, walking this path of holding the ground of being a divine being on earth, no matter what anyone says, right? Like, how much negative press did Yeshua get about saying he was the Son of God? It's like, oh, you're so arrogant. Like, how could you? Blah, blah. Like, just speaking facts. He's just speaking facts. So we are, speaking of getting on a little tangent, Mary Magdalene and I just took us there. But we wanted to really highlight this piece around it is not about anyone being better than anyone. It is about living your divine mission. And those who are at a different phase of their journey or a different mission or, a different pathway might look at that like they did to Yeshua and say, oh, that's so arrogant. Or like what they did to Mary Magdalene, which is to pretend like she was not a goddess of the light, right? Like that might happen. Doesn't matter. We know who we are. We know what our mission is. We have our community of light. We continue on. So 2025, going to be a big year. We knew this, right? Those of us on this path, if you've been with me for a while, you are not surprised. You're not surprised by January. You're not surprised by what's unfolding. You're like, yeah, we knew it was going to go down like this. Now we have specific confirmation from Goddess Mary Magdalene about what we're working with. Agenda's going to be working overtime to distract us. This is not really anything new, but giving us just the heads up for those of us that have been on this path, like, okay, I really need to up my game. really making your higher self unification your number one priority, being as organic and natural as you can possibly be so that you are not taken on a scenic route and are not able to fulfill your mission. So this year is incredibly important. How you spend this year is really setting the energy for how you're going to spend the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, I'm shown through 2036, so it's really going to be setting the energetic imprint through 2036. So join me, say yes to being your higher self here on earth. We have so many delicious ways to support you. This is by far the yummiest path. So when you feel the soul resonance, reach out. We've got freebies to sort of get you started. We've got apprenticeship working with me. We've got one-on-one sessions to support you. We've got new transmissions of the light coming to you this year. We've got a new event of the light coming to you this year. We have spiritual attunements to the exquisite love frequency coming to you this year. We have so much goodness to support you in your unification with your higher self so that you may live as who you really are here on earth and then get out the game if you want to get out the game with us. But that we'll be talking about that in like 2036 and beyond. So for now, you have your next steps to unify with your higher self. And I can't wait to hear about your year and how things unfold for you in the year that is known as 2025. So we will go ahead and close this episode of Awakening the Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us, whether you are joining us via audio or on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. And go to sacred-spirituality.org to get any free meditations, transmissions. We've got so much goodness for you this year. I cannot wait to share it with you. Seriously. It is blowing my mind where we're going next. It kind of is always like that since 2008. I've been like, what? Oh my God, like just so over the top. Like, what is happening? This is so amazing. And I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and this has been Awakening the Podcast. See you soon. Happy New Year. Mwah.